Adam Smith, whom many of you might know as the father of modern economics or the world's first free market capitalist, was born in 1723 in the little town of Kirkcaldy, Fife, Scotland, where he was raised by a widowed mother. He just happens to share his birthday with our dear professor, Dr. Monty Lynn, June 5th. Many of you may have already heard about him and studied him in Introduction to Business, but we will remind you of who he is and what he has done. He attended the University of Glasgow in Scotland and Balliol College right here in Oxford, where he studied social philosophy. Impressively, he began his studies at the university at age 14. Unfortunately, though, he was quoted saying, "In the University of Oxford, the greater part of the public professors have, for these many years, given up altogether even the pretense of teaching." He believed that his studies in Glasgow were far superior to those in Oxford.
In Oxford, he tended to spend the majority of his time in the library reading books pertaining to subjects far different from what he was studying. He left the university in Oxford before his business scholarship ended. He developed skills in moral philosophy and became a pioneer of political economy. In 1764, he chose to tutor the Duke of Buccleuch. They spent time in France and Switzerland studying together. Afterwards, Smith returned to Kirkcaldy to take time to write. He wrote The Theory of Moral Sentiments as well as an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations, a 5-book series in which he discusses his economic theory of the invisible hand. The invisible hand essentially means that people, by doing what is good for oneself, is ultimately good for the entire society. Smith discusses the term laissez-faire, which is an unregulated economic system. This is where the government does not interfere with the system but lets the people operate freely. However, Smith didn't think up many of these ideas that he wrote about. He was just the first person to compile and publish them. Adam Smith died July 17, 1790, in Edinburgh, Scotland, after living a life dedicated to the study of philosophy and economic policy.